Okay. So are you interested in history in general? Do you like history or do you enjoy history?
No, I don't know much about this. I
Mm-hmm.
have not read much.
Fair enough. And did you not like history when you were a child? At that time also you hated history?
Not exactly hated, but I was not very good in learning history in that subject.
Fair enough. Okay. So what were the subjects that did interest you? What were the subjects that you enjoyed?
I enjoyed only doing mathematics.
Only mathematics? My God, are you an intelligent kid from the class?
Not intelligent, but I love to spend time solving problems. That yeah.
Fair enough. I hate maths actually. Not hate, but like I sort of dislike it because I'm not good at it. So no matter how much I practice, I was never able to do it properly. Like I would forget how to do things while I'm in the middle of a sum or a question. So yeah, I left maths after class 12th. I was like, yep, not gonna continue it. But sadly, the degree that I picked up, it had a major portion dedicated to statistics. So even after dropping maths, I'm still in touch with it. I cannot get rid of it. Very sad, but yeah, it is what it is.
I was not very good at math, but I like to spend time solving because whenever I was asked to study what to do, okay, let's do some solving. I mean, solve problems. That's how I passed my time without reading other subject. It
Wow,
is not that I like it. I
you did
mean,
mathematics to pass your.
if you compare with other subject, I like to spend time with math. Yeah.
Wow. And you like to pass your time with maths. I think you're the first person who is telling that, yeah, when I'm free, I like to do maths. People are like, yeah, when I'm free, I would like to sleep.
Sometimes it is interesting.
Maths.
Suppose there is a problem, so you have to solve it, and if you can solve it, and when you see the answer, and if it agrees with your answer, the answer that is given in the book, uh, it feels very good.
Wow.
You have to
You're a good
do the math
person.
step by step. At last, you reach the result, and when it agrees with the result given in the book, that's
Wow.
when
That is
you.
actually very satisfactory, isn't it? When you write hence proved. When the sum finally ends, I think that is, it feels like an achievement. Whenever you're solving anything, like for example, questions related to derivatives and everything, and finally when you write hence proved, it gives so much solace to your soul that wow, I have done it. I've done maths.
Yes, yes.
That way, yeah, maths is a satisfying subject that way. But
And
for me,
one more thing is that if you could correct it, then the number that you are given, the full marks you will get.
yeah. Yeah, but the worst part in maths is this only. If you do even one step incorrect, the entire marks go away. In other questions, you at least in other subjects, you're like, chalo, half I wrote correctly, so I'll get at least 2.5 out of 5. But in
Yeah,
maths, it's like, yeah, 0 on 5.
but nowadays it is different. I think no?
Yeah,
Now they give marks step by
step
step.
by.
If there are
Yeah.
three steps, so if you correct in one step, that also you get some marks.
Hmm. Now they have. So basically, it's like
Yeah.
till the part that you've applied the formula, if you have done at least correctly till that point, you get at least 2 to 3 marks out of 5.
Yes, yes.
So
Nowadays, I have seen that from my children, their maths papers. Yes, I have seen that.
yeah, they're luckier than you. I think in your times it was completely like 0. If the answer is incorrect, all marks gone.
So under
Um,
compulsion, you are studying statistics even though you don't like. So by the way, what is your favorite subject?
my favorite subject is actually psychology, and I'm studying psychology only. Like my background is psychology, but
Okay.
a huge part of psychology involves statistics. So anything related to research involves statistics, and sadly, I like research, so I have to deal with statistics every day. Which is pretty sad. I thought I'll be like, you know, you that there's this saying that goes that The more you try to avoid something, the more it will come into your life. So I tried
Yes.
avoiding maths, and it has now become my life. So I have to deal with statistics each day, which is very sad. But it is what it is. I can't do anything because I like psychology a lot. So I'm not going to leave the subject. So I'm trying to improve in statistics at least, if not other math topics.
Okay. So you have embraced it nicely.
Yeah, I have accepted the truth. I have accepted that this is going to build my life, so it's better to accept it because no, I can no longer avoid it. So yeah, as sad as it is, can't help it. Did you like statistics when you were studying maths?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. Not
Fair.
many. There are some statistics like mean, median, mode, all those things. Simple things I used to do. I remember those things.
Yeah, that is still bearable.
So,
Hmm.
as you said that you are studying psychology, so it's very interesting. I think this subject, psychology.
Yeah, the subject in itself is pretty interesting. That is one of the major reasons I picked it because it's something related to human behavior, and it's a never-ending subject, and a lot of research is still left in it. So that is why I picked it because I wanted
So,
to.
those are psychologists that when they interact with the people, they get to know how the people about them. Only after interaction or with the by the look or the gesture that they make, seeing them, they can make out about the person. Is
Mhm.
the thing?
Well, yeah, that's an interesting question. Okay, so basically, what happens is that so experience really matters when it comes to noticing someone's body language. So a psychologist who is much older than me, who has who has done their PhD and has been working in the field for like 10, 12 years, they
Mm-hmm.
are usually able to notice body language very quickly. So when you walk
Okay.
into a room, the way you walk in, the way you're sitting, the way you start the conversation, they would be able to observe you much better than I would be able to, considering that I have less experience. So yeah, that really depends on experience. Apart from that interaction, like the way you speak and everything, the way you answer the questions, and what you answer to the questions, that helps us accumulate all the behavioral aspects about someone. So yeah, that requires lesser experience in comparison to just judging someone's body language. That requires a great deal of experience. So that is
Okay.
there. Interesting enough.
And if somebody has some problem and after interacting with that person, so you can also give him proper counseling and make things right. It is the thing. I think the main part of this psychologist.
Yeah, exactly. So that is basically what we do. So in order to recognize that what problem a certain person is facing, we usually have different sets of questions that we ask. So first are the basic questions asking someone that why they have come to us. So first we like to know what the person thinks about themselves. That is where we start. Once we
Mhm.
gather that knowledge, then we further decide what sort of questions we need to ask them, what sort of category of help they require. And once we have done that, we have a proper report finalized that like includes their clinical picture, that what the person has, what disorder they have, do they even have a disorder or not, or is it just life coaching or counseling that they require? Because a lot of times people come to us where they are like, I just don't know what to do with my life. I don't feel anxious. I don't have any depression sort of symptoms, but I'm very done with my life and I feel bored all the time. So in cases like that, we go ahead and provide counseling. Otherwise, if we recognize that the person has a certain disorder, for example, anxiety or depression, common ones, or something more severe like schizophrenia, then we have a proper therapeutic procedure that we follow, which often requires an involvement of a psychiatrist as well.
So if somebody is suffering from schizophrenia, after counseling, that patient can be cured. I mean, as a normal person, or it is very difficult, or is it very difficult, or it can be cured? for a certain percentage, not full and full.
Well, yeah. So again, pretty interesting. So schizophrenia is a somewhat a serious disorder, somewhat a disorder that we consider very serious in the field. So if somebody has schizophrenia, there is no guarantee that the person will improve entirely, because that is
Mm.
one of the disorder that doesn't go away that easily. It takes time to be
Yes.
cured. So it
Mm-hmm.
often is not like completely cured, but we are able to, like with therapy, and now we give medicines as well, as I said, the involvement of a psychiatrist. So with the help of that, we are often able to sort of compensate for its symptoms, because a lot of times patients of schizophrenia have symptoms like, they have hallucinations, like they see
Mm.
or hear things that are not there. They have
Yes.
delusions and all. So with help of medicines, we are often able to, reduce its impact, so they won't have that many hallucinations that, sort of hinder their usual life. Because just imagine if you're constantly hearing something and nobody else is hearing, and you're telling
Mm-hmm.
it to someone and they're telling you like we cannot hear it, it would frustrate you, and it would, sort of hinder your personal life. So we try to combat those symptoms with the help of therapy and medicines. Therapy further helps in, sort of for them to accept that they have this disorder and how they can deal with it on a daily basis. So the impact sort of gets reduced, but for a minimal, only for a minimal percentage, the impacts are completely over, that the person gets completely cured. But then again, this is one of the disorders where there is a, almost 60 or 70% chance of relapse, that the person might fall into it again after a period of 5 to 6
Yes,
years.
yes, yes. It's like a
So relapse,
cycle
right?
that after some period again they reaches that situation.
Not for everyone, but relapse cases are common in schizophrenia and in substance abuse disorders.
Okay. So I have seen it's a common. I mean, I have seen at least 3, 4 persons who have this kind of hallucination that
Mhm.
they are being followed by somebody, even though there is nobody there following them. But they said, yeah, this person is looking at me. I don't know why. I have seen that person. Another day was looking at me. What is happening? I don't know. He is following me. So this is also kind of, I mean, leading to the condition of schizophrenia, or is
Yeah,
it
so
itself a schizophrenia?
yeah, so this is one of the symptoms of schizophrenia. Usually, it's called paranoia, where you feel that somebody is going to harm you, somebody is following you, or somebody has, sort of a lot of times, like I have read one of the case studies in which I was involved, where the person reported that anytime he is about to drink water or drink anything, he feels that something has been mixed into it to harm him, to make him fall asleep or something. So that is a result of paranoia hallucination, paranoid hallucinations, where people feel that somebody is going to harm them in some or the other way. So it's a sort of delusion, more like a delusion, and because this is something that is not real, but they feel that this is going to happen to them. So this comes under paranoia. Paranoia in itself is a disorder. It is like some people do not have any other thing but simply paranoia. They feel paranoid all the time that somebody is going to harm them. So it's a disorder in itself, and it is a symptom for many disorders. It is a symptom of schizoid personality. It is also a symptom of schizophrenia and few other disorders. So yeah, if somebody is having this symptom, either it could be paranoia, only paranoia, or it could be one of the symptoms of the disorder that they have. So once proper testing and everything is done, psychologists are able to, give a clinical picture that what exact disorder this person has.
So another disorder, I just forgot the term. Sometimes it goes very. I mean, they becomes very depressed, and sometimes they become very ecstatic. I mean, they feel that I have
Yeah,
energy.
happy. Yeah, so that is, I'll write down the name also.
Some
Uh,
disorder, I forgot it.
yeah, yeah, that is bipolar personality
Oh,
disorder.
bipolar. Yeah, yeah, that's one I was talking.
So, yeah.
Bipolar disorder. Yes, that is also
Mm.
some kind of uh, thing. That
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if there is any good news, they go hyper, or sometimes they go, in a state of depression also, though not a
Mhm.
clinical one, but some kind of depression.
Yeah, so it can be clinical depression as well. If a person suffers from bipolar personality disorder or the bipolar disorder in general, what happens is that you already know about disorder like depression, right? So depression is when you're extremely sad and you have a
Mm-hmm.
aversion to all sorts of happy things that are going around you. Um, the opposite of depression is mania. So, under mania, what happens is a person becomes extremely happy, a little too happy. So,
Yes.
even in events that are supposed to be sad, for example, it's a sad movie or something, they would laugh or they would completely be like, yeah, that's fine, nothing has happened. So, sometimes they would be like, they might just be going to the market to buy a bread. So, how would you dress up? If you're going to buy a bread in the market, you'll just wear your pajamas and t shirt and you'll go and buy it, right? That's how we usually are. Unless you're a celebrity, then it's completely different. But usually people go in pajamas, right? But a manic person might, completely dress up. Like they will wear jewelry, they will wear sandals, they will wear heels, they'll wear the expensive watches and everything, and then they'll go to the market only to buy bread.
Okay.
So that is how, hyper level of happiness that they have, that they're so happy, it shows in their body. So it is, you know too much of anything is bad, so too much of
Yes.
happiness like that is also bad. So when these two things get mixed, so for example, sometimes a person is utterly sad, like too sad. For example, they just saw a movie, but they got
Mm-hmm.
triggered by it so badly that they cry all night and they don't feel like talking to anyone. They harm themselves. So that is
Yes.
cute depressive state. And
Yeah.
then they're suddenly so happy. Like for example, I just told them that I made a sandwich for you, and they would be so happy that they'll be like, oh my god, I love you so much, and they'll start doing all sorts of good things for you, and they'll be extremely happy, even though it's just like, I make sandwiches for you every day. What is new? But they are extremely happy. So these polar opposite things, when they get combined together, it's called bipolar personality disorder, and it's one of the really severe disorders. It's hard to deal with for a person, because when you're even provide it's hard to even provide treatment in this disorder, because when we are providing treatment, the person is never in a normal mood state. They're either
Yes.
depressed or they're either too happy. So we have to sort of, there is very limited period of time in the day where they feel normal, where they're acting like us, like normal people. So
Yeah.
we sort of need to, really push hard for them to increase that normal time period limit, so that we can provide them a good treatment. So it's pretty hard to deal with as a disorder, and it's very bad for the person as well, because they start to, once after a point, they start to blame everything on themselves. They feel that all of this is happening because of themselves. So once you get that feeling, you don't feel like even getting treatment for it. So it is a disorder that requires a lot of effort by psychologists and family members to, get them back to normal. But it is
And
curable.
when
Yeah.
they are in a very happy mood, that is hyper, then they also does not. They spend like anything. I mean, if somebody asks for money, they immediately give it. They don't
Yeah.
mind.
Hmm.
I
That is
have
a very
seen that
common symptom.
really.
Yeah.
The
They
one
get
day
so
I have
happy.
seen one person. She was asked by a beggar, and she immediately take out one a 500 rupee note from her purse and gave to the beggar. It was very, I mean, not normal thing.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry, I have a bad throat today. Yeah, so that happens. That is very normal. Like, I mean, it's one of the common symptoms. They get so happy, like they lose sense of normality. So if they're too happy, if you ask them money, they'll be like, yeah, yeah, take 10,000, and they
Hmm.
won't bother about it. It's only when they'll get sad that they will overthink about it.
Yeah. And they
So
also
that
become very proud of themselves also sometimes, that I have done this, I have done this. I stood, I had a rank in my HSLC exam like that. Even
Yeah.
this is happening, yes.
Mhm. These are common symptoms. Like not everyone might possess them. For everybody, it's going to look a little different. But this is one thing that we see. They sort of, become very exaggerative. They exaggerate everything when they are in the manic mood. So if they are happy, they are going to, describe what they have done. Like, you know what, I cooked something today, and I watched Sanjeev Kapoor's video, and I have made it just like it. I am sure it's better than his dish. So they get sort of exaggerative about it. They will
Yes.
exaggerate a lot during that manic mood. But complete contrast when they're in the depressive state. They might have done something very good, but they'll still be like, I know I have done it the worst way possible. People do it so much better than me. I'm worst. I cannot do anything. I don't deserve life and everything. So there's a very huge, huge contrast. So if a person is living with them, they would not know that how did this change happen? Like what happened so quickly? So, relationships, maintaining relationships with a person who has BPD is very, very tough
Yes,
because
exactly.
there is no normal stage. You don't know what is going to trigger your partner to get completely manic or completely depressive.
Yes.
So it's very, very hard for them, especially if, like, I remember this case study of like this person. I genuinely met them, and the husband was like begging the psychiatrist I was working under. He was just begging that please get her back to normal. It was a newly married couple. The poor guy had just like did not know how her BPD had got triggered so badly suddenly that either she was completely happy or she was completely depressed. The day
Yeah.
he came into the clinic, um, his wife was dressed up like they were going for a marriage. She was dressed
Um,
up with all the heavy
yeah.
jewelry and everything. And they were just
Mm-hmm.
coming to the hospital. He was like, I don't know what's wrong with her. I don't know what has happened to her. I just want my wife back because this is not her. So, it's sort of, when you're in the field, it's sort of sad to watch someone, in that stage where they're begging the doctor, the psychiatrist, that please, please get this person back to normal because you don't want to leave your relationships. You want to help the person
Yes.
that you are with because if it's family, you're going to help your family, of course. But yeah, so it's not just bad for the person who is suffering. Of course it is bad for them, but people who live with them, people who love them, people who are their friends and everything, family and
Yes.
friends, they
Yes.
also sort of get very tensed and worried, and their life also sort of starts getting disrupted because of it. It's not their fault, it's not the person's fault, it's just that something has happened and it requires treatment. A lot of times, the root causes of most of the disorders are in the childhood. Something traumatic that happened in the childhood, something could be very traumatic, could be less traumatic, but usually a lot of time the roots come from the childhood and teenage states of people.
So it's because of that some incident that happened in their life. That's the main reason, or it's even some child may come with birth also. I mean,
Uh,
since birth.
Uh-huh. So a lot of times it could be since birth. So sometimes our genetics are responsible. So for example, if somebody has, for example, I have schizophrenia, there is going to be a very big chance that my child might also suffer from the problem. So a
Okay.
lot of times it's genetic, but a lot of times it's also sort of because of an event that happened in the childhood. So, for example, if somebody had a very traumatic event in the childhood while they were just 5, 6, or 7 years old, it might not reflect at that time, but later in their life, at 18, 19, maybe 20, 23, it is going to start having an impact. When their life starts to sort of get stressful, it's going to have an impact. So, could be genetic, could be like something that happened in the childhood. So for that, we usually take case history. That is, we take the child's history, like the person who has came in, the client, and their family history. The reason we take family history is simply because we want to know that if anybody in the family has had it, there is a huge possibility that the person is suffering from a genetic disorder and not something because of the childhood trauma. It might get triggered because of it, but the cause could be genetic. Might get triggered because of any stressful life event that happened right now. So yeah, there's a possibility that it can be genetic. That is
Okay.
there.
So I have learned so many things from you today, not only English, but about this psychology. Yeah.